All right, I think I might be going live. I'm gonna just give it a minute. See if it's, I'm hoping. Let's see. I'm just gonna, just kind of setting it up. Hopefully some of you guys are logged in to my GoPro stream. This is my second try at streaming from a GoPro. I'm just gonna kind of like ramble on, drink some coffee for a few minutes before we get this going. Gonna just keep viewing my stream. Oh, all right. Cool. It looks like I am live. All right. Cool. I am gonna give this a second, just to give people an opportunity to come in. So, okay. All right. Oh, thank you for hosting the channel, Bells. I'm gonna probably not look so much at my phone right now, but I'll check it periodically to see the chat. But thank you guys for coming to my stream today. Today I am gonna be doing 5 things you didn't know were edible. And so kind of like how this came to be was, you know, this, well, most of my brilliant ideas recently have all been the result of COVID. So it's, that's kind of my rationale for doing this. But, you know, back in, I'm gonna open the door, it's hot. Back in when COVID started, you know, my kids were doing a lot of the homeschooling. And, you know, at the time it was kind of like a lot of math, a lot of reading. My kids are 5 and 6. And, you know, I think it was tough on them. And I'm a scientist, and there was no science in some of the stuff that my kids were trying to learn. It's a little loud. And so I decided to kind of incorporate a little bit of science into some of the daily things I was doing with my kids. And I mean, we did everything. We did like electromagnetism, robotics. Geology week was pretty cool. We broke open geodes. We did rock collections. We had botany week, shark week, insect week. But you know, if I ask my kids now what they remember from those lessons just last spring, they don't really remember much, but they remember some of the things we did when it came to learning survival skills. And so, you know, and I thought that was great. And maybe I'm a little bit pessimistic to some degree when COVID started, and I was thinking to myself, well, maybe I should be teaching my kids some survival skills. So anyways, my kids still talk about this, some of the stuff we did, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. But I'm going to take you through a couple of different things. I'm in the stream, still trying to iron out kinks, so hopefully this will get this to work. But I'm not sure if you can see some of this stuff, but one of the things I did with my kids with the survival stuff is it's like it's a whole stack of these papers, right? There's tons of these papers. It's like different things on them. Like a sleeping bag, rope, water, flare gun, magnifying lens, toilet paper, shovel. Anyways, there's lots of these things. And so I put these all out in front of my kids, and we did a little experiment, and I said, well, you know, if you were on a sinking ship, they didn't like that very much, and you can only pick 3 things, what would you pick, you know? And then this is to survive on this deserted island. And for a 5 and an 8-year-old, I was actually really impressed with their problem-solving skills. And both of them, even my 5-year-old, had enough common sense to know that you had to prioritize eating and drinking, you know, and, you know, ways to eat, you know, ways to get food, to feed yourself, ways to make water. You know, we even talked about how to make water. Maybe I'll do that one day. We'll do an experiment, making water in your backyard. But it was really cool, you know, and it's just my 5-year-old, he picked the fishing rod, and he had enough sense to know that he was gonna have to feed himself for a long time. And my oldest picked the gun for hunting purposes as well. So aside from the fact that, yes, there's hunting, but there's also plants and things that you can eat as well. So, and I'll talk about that one in a little bit. That's kind of the premise for today's stream, is trying to identify some of those plants out in the field if you were looking for something to eat. So anyways, I am going to put the GoPro on my head. So you're gonna be on my head today. Last time you were on my chest. I have a whole bunch of different ways to use this GoPro thing. So you're on my chest, my head today. So I'll let you guys see what that's gonna look like. I have a mirror in front of me. Sorry, you're probably looking down at my awesome legs, right? Oops. And I am trying to put this on my head. This dorky me with this on my head. All right, ooh, this is tight. All right. And, okay. So I got you guys, and hopefully I don't shut it off, but you can see what I look like. This awesome GoPro on my head. Oh, it's not. Okay, that's better. Okay, so see, we look totally dorky with this GoPro on my head. But that's me, nerdy me. So let's go for a walk outside for a little bit. Oh, and I also wanted to show you this, if you can see this. This is kind of one of the things I had bought for my kids. I spent fortune trying to like teach my kids science. Survival Kit, A Practical Guide to Wilderness Survival. And that's an awesome book. You know, that was kind of so many fun things I was able to do with my kids. So let's go outside, because that's why we're here, is to go outside. Let's turn that off. Okay. And I hope it's not too loud. I hope you can hear me. I'm periodically going, ooh, Nature Walk. Hey, Chris Owens, thank you for stopping by. Oh, it's actually not cold. It's actually not cold at all. It's really, really hot outside. I know, it's kind of like hard to see. Hopefully you guys can see. It's so loud here. I am next to a highway. And look at puddles. Like, this in itself is like awesomeness to me, is like looking in puddles. And that's not the premise of today, but like, it's just awesome. So let me put this around my neck. So one of the things I wanted to start off with, if you could hear me hopefully, is that like this whole thing today is about edible things, right? So the idea, if you think about things that are edible, is the fact that animals and plants have co-evolved, right? So all of these wonderful fruits and vegetables, and the idea that the reason why we have flowering plants and fruits is the fact that we've co-evolved, plants and animals have co-evolved together, right? So for every fruit that exists, there's probably some kind of animal that helps manage that seed, right? The purpose of a fruit is that you are trying to disseminate a seed. I actually woke up this morning, I don't know if any of you have ever watched the movie Grease 2, but there's an reproduction, and you know, it's like the flower are so constructed that very, very often the wind will cause pollination, right? So, anyways, the reason why we have flowering plants, we have most of them rely on pollinators, right? And so because this is what a lot of my own research is. So a lot of research is focused on honeybees, the importance of pollinator health. And when you think about it, 3 out of every 4 bites of food that we eat, we consume, rely on animals, primarily bees, for pollination. And so that's kind of why I'm starting here. This is, I'm starting here because this is right near campus where I work. This is a new pollinator garden. It's kind of a pollinator garden and playground that was developed. And a lot of this was actually the idea of my postdoc at the time. Usually when people come and work, it's not enough that work 40-hour plus weeks, but I always encourage them to expand and get some experiences that will help them with their career. And so my postdoc at the time really wanted to do something with pollinator gardening. So this facility, this is research that's associated with our university, and we're more than willing to listen to my it's a great tool for us to pollinators, right? That's why I do lots of little educational things like how do dragonflies catch their prey. Dragonflies can eat hundreds of mosquitoes a day with their strong chewing mouth parts. They also eat smaller dragonflies, bees, flies, and many other flying insects. So the cool thing is, like, a lot of people don't like insects. I'm an entomologist, but I love insects, and they are very important for pollinator health. And you can see, if you guys can look, there's tons of bees all over these plants. It's kind of a nice little facility. And, you know, maybe one day I'll take you guys through my Minecraft lesson plan that I developed. You can use Minecraft to develop a pollinator garden, and just learning about the fact that there are flowering plants, a lot of edible plants, to attract pollinators. So again, that was really my spiel on just remembering that the reason why we have a lot of these food sources is the fact that the coevolution of animals. So I'm going to go back to my car really quick, and I want to show you something else. I'm going to talk about things. So, and I'm going to look at my phone periodically. Oh, I wanted to show you something else really cool. Actually, let me walk. There's like so much. I get distracted. I get distracted by squirrels. Definitely, there's lots of cool things to show you guys. And I'm going to periodically look at my phone to just like make sure I am, yes. So, hey Gapty! Nothing wrong with spending time alone or by yourself well, right? Yeah, you know, I am, yeah, I love my kids. I love going out in nature. You know, I've do nature hikes alone. I've flown up to Colorado to just hike in the Rockies all by myself. It's my passion to just be out in nature. So my PhD research was conducted in an area where there was a lot of black bear, and very frequently I'd be out in the swamps looking around and I'd come across some black bear and stuff. So cool stuff. And if you could probably, I'm still wearing, anyways, I wanted to show you guys this stuff, which you can see this little mound here. I know this is not the topic, but I get sidetracked. And hopefully in a future thing, fish. And the burrows you have kind of deep there, female with their offspring waiting for the flooding to start, so they can start growing and things. So again, this is another part of that pollinator garden. I just wanted to show you. This is a little herb garden. So attracting pollinators, you can attract pollinators with herbs, you can attract pollinators with flowers, you can attract pollinators with a lot of edible things too, right? Bees love squashes and cucumbers and watermelon, carrots, so all kinds of stuff that flower. So anyways, I'm getting sidetracked again. I have no idea if you guys can hear me. I hope you can hear me. The next spot I'm gonna go to after walking you through this cute little area, hopefully be a little bit more quiet. So let's see, I'm gonna pop open my chat. And oh, you can hear me loud and clear. Awesome, thank you. So we're going to I'm gonna come right back to here in a second. Hopefully you guys are enjoying nature. I know it's so beautiful and sunny right now. Where is my cards? Okay, so I was going to show you guys this real quick. So one of the things I did with my kids after we talked about survival was I put out these cards. All these, they're like laminated cards, and I asked my kids to pick out the things that, you know, if you are out and lost in the woods and you need something to eat, what would you pick? And again, my kids still talk about this: exercise. My oldest nailed it. He just instinctively, I think, knew what to go for. But my youngest kept picking things like this, and he was very upset to find out that, well, if you eat these berries, they will make you very, very ill. And we'll look at those. So generally, kind of a rule of thumb is you just don't normally want to eat red berries in nature, especially berries that are single. If you're going to eat a berry, most of the time the aggregated berries are the ones you want to look for. So an aggregate fruit where you have kind of multiple berries together. So anyways, that's something I do with my kids, and that's what I'm going to do with you guys right now. We're going to see what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat. And isn't this cool? I mean, I just love this, that like our research station built this whole little playground and thing to promote pollinators, you know, and it's just, some of these things just happen off of like just somebody having a discussion and an idea, which I think is really cool. So never be afraid to propose ideas, because you never know when people are gonna listen. I should comment, my research was on bees, so we've done a lot of grants, honeybee health and pollinator health. And so we actually have what I'm looking at right here is a little patch of clover. We have a grant project we're working with in collaboration with some pasture researchers, and clover is great, and you can kind of see this is covered in bees. I am a bee researcher, but one day we were up in doing the middle of nowhere in South, even though I've been stung by bees tons of times, allergic reaction. If I could get stung by a bee, I'll die, but I'm not I do carry an EpiPen. You can see tons of bees around here, and the likelihood of them stinging me right here is very low. For the time they're going to sting you because they're trying to defend their nests. But anyways, this is edible plant number 1, clover. So not sure if you see the clover leaf, right? It looks, but you can see the clover flower. And so basically, it's great. And so you are out looking for a huge, eat clove, cook, sweet, you know, think about like chamomile tea. A lot of people will put like those flowers, high protein content kind of a plant. So as you can see, this is spring, it's very abundant, the bees are using it. You could always follow the bees, go grab some honey as well. We are going to pass some beehives in a little bit, and I'll show you that. So I'm going to hop in my car because our next spot I'm going to drive us down to. It's just easier for us to drive. So welcome to my car. I'm going to have to put the air conditioning on and drink some coffee. Again, I'm going to check periodically my chat and see. Oh yeah, and I should say Tech Parrot. Hey Tech Parrot, thanks for joining. Tech Parrot was an Eagle Scout, and so he promised, right, Tech Parrot, that if I say something completely stupid, you'll correct me on that because you know all of these survival skills. But Tech Parrot has just said in the chat, clover is really good dipped in batter and deep fried. So now I kind of want to go back and pick some and try that, because that's a really good idea. Should be trying to What I should have done is had like a, what I should have done is had a cooking section after this where we actually harvest all the materials. That would be awesome. It's like harvest everything and have a cooking show afterwards. So we're gonna go and go to the next spot. But yeah, it's again, like the whole idea behind these pollinator gardens are great. You know, we're very fortunate. I'm fortunate to work at a state university because we have a lot of research stations. It's really allowed me and my own research to have a lot of different types of collaborations and research projects. So this is really, and it's a really pretty facility. They have events here, they have weddings. Technically, I'm supposed to check in and tell them that I am video recording or photo recording, but hey, since I'm affiliated with the university, I did not do that. It's actually, one of the things I've been trying to do is for these streams, trying to get them led by actual people that run some of these facilities and tours. So I've sent out a lot of emails and phone calls so hopefully in the future to have some actual experts take us through and show us some things. As I mentioned, like the crawfish stuff is really cool. We've done, my own graduate student had to raise crawfish, and to raise crawfish, you have to mimic the scenarios that they undergo. So things like interchanging growing rice with crawfish production and stuff. So anyways, so we are driving down, and when I came here yesterday to scout out the area, I do apologize, the bees were not flying as much as they are going to be today. So I'm going to try to kind of stay further away from the bees, but it does hurt when they sting. Yes, and my students all have wonderful pictures of me with swollen face, looking like, I said that, if you ever saw that movie Mask with Cher, that's kind of, I feel like I look like when you get stung in the face. I got stung on the eyelid. I always get stung on the eyelid. They always go for my eyes. So anyways, this is Burden. There's a thing to my left is Rural Life Museum. I contacted a docent there for future tour, so they can like walk us through maybe and talk about the Rural Life Museum. I do have intentions of going to Avery Island to show you guys where they make Tabasco. They're not doing tours at this very moment because of COVID, but I still want to do it. We could just kind of walk Avery Island. You could see the birds and the alligators and stuff. It's really pretty. So there are bees. Look at all those beehives. Since this is the south, the weather is really mild in the winter. So a lot of people overwinter their bees down here in the south. There's also a beekeeper association. They maintain hives over here, and you can kind of see they're definitely growing in size. It's a very active beekeeper community in our area. So it's nice, and it's great to, like, it's a win-win for beekeepers and for farmers. You know, you have a lot of these crops require bees for pollination. Little factoid for you, of the like 2.3 million honey producing colonies in the US, more than half are used for almond pollination. So it's February now, and those bees, so half of the country's honey producing colonies are currently in California, pollinating almonds. So think about that. Ponder that for a minute and the stress that must be involved in that. Oof, ouch. Oh yeah, with the bee sting, yeah. So anyways, so let's go. We're gonna go to our next site. So I'll show you some more things that you can eat. I'm gonna show you things to eat. So yeah, let me just put that over my head. So we'll walk lots of different areas. So I'm gonna walk down this way first. Look for, I'd kind of hoped that when I was here yesterday I would come across dandelions. Yes, so there are some here. It's better, I need some better dandelions. So the next one I'm showing you, here's I couldn't find a lot of dandelions when I came out here to scout yesterday. But on the second plant that you probably all have in your backyard, you guys have clover, you guys also have dandelions, right? And so here's an example of a dandelion, right? An example, this is a good example to show you guys, right? So with the dandelion, everybody knows a dandelion, right? There's nothing really that you can mistake for a dandelion, right? You could eat the flowers, right? That would be pretty time consuming to pick. But if you're in your backyard, at the bottom there, the dandelion leaves, right? So these are the dandelion greens. And so this is what most people pick. The dandelion greens, they kind of have a like a Riccio, very bitter flavor. But you can see you get from one dandelion, you get a good amount of leaves. And so if you're in your backyard, right, you probably have a ton of these leaves that you could pick, and you can use them like to cook just similar like you would with like a salad. So you could eat them raw, you can cook them. So the dandelion greens are actually pretty popular the food source that people use to eat. And so you could very high in vitamin A and C and K, good source of food. You can cook them, like maybe saute them. Something I would probably do is like saute them in like a butter and garlic. I tend to do that a lot with all of the greens that I eat. It's just lots of butter and garlic. Lots of fun. So that's 2. So five things you didn't know you could eat. So maybe you knew you could eat clover. Maybe some of you knew you could eat some dandelions, but there's still more I can show you guys. So we're gonna walk. This is another cute little path, and so you can see the bee here. Lots of bees. So here we have, again, this is great. This is a little research station, mostly here for the research plots for plants, crops, but there's also these cute little trails for the public. We'll go Perimeter Road and Black Swamp Trail. You can see here there's this, like, what I always gravitate towards, right? What do I gravitate towards? I gravitate towards swamps. I love swamps. Actually, I was thinking probably my next one of these, if you guys are interested, is I really want to get into that water and show you guys what's in it. Lots of great little different kind of insects and things that you probably enjoy seeing. So we'll do that. Now this one, okay, so I want to explain something to you guys, is that I'm not a plant person, I'm an insect person. So yesterday I was trying to verify my identifications with an app, Plant Snap. So if I totally mess up, then you guys need to just call me out on it, and that's totally fine. I admit, as a professor, I often learn things to you. Another common thing you probably, again, most of these things you're eating are weeds. And you can kind of see here, again, my Scout thistle. So these are the very, again, it doesn't look like something that we have a lot of, seen them a lot. It'll grow into this big, beautiful puffball flower. But you know, can be used a lot like celery. So it's going to be kind of bland. You want to kind of pull all of the eat the ribs and the mid ribs and the roots and the stalk, and kind of a lot of the same texture to celery. So crispy. You can cook with it. You can eat it raw, and it'll be a good source of fiber. So that's another one for you. Yesterday I was out looking. You know, it's spring, and I was looking for ferns yesterday. But all of our ferns are kind of older ferns. But you know, I know in the spring back up north, there's a part of the fern, it's called a fiddlehead. So it's kind of like, you could always Google it. I didn't see any here yesterday. But you know, if you're out in nature and you're looking for head ferns, you see these little kind of spirally looking ferns. So you get lots of things, lots of different cool plants. So we'll just walk for a bit. Those are not real deer. It's yeah, just funny things that they put, funny things. And yeah, it's like, I still think I gravitate after rains and stuff. Hopefully I am still, make some dandelion wine. Oh, legit didn't know you could eat dandelion greens. And yes, you can, and make some dandelion wine, yeah. So Tech Parrot, you can also comment if that was in fact heather and things that you can do with that plant. Good. It's nice to have an Eagle Scout with me. I was never even in Girl Scouts, so I pretty much self-teach myself a lot of different things. I'm stubborn like that. In Tech Parrot, I know you know what's coming up next. So I see a little bit coming up on the ground, and I see one here. But another thing that you probably didn't know you could eat, the pine cone, right? So here are some pine cones. These are small, probably have bigger pine cones somewhere. But if you've ever had pine nuts, pinoli, I know I make a lot of pesto. I buy pine nuts, and in most pestos they have pine nuts. We also, I'm Italian, we make braciole, and you kind of put some pinolis in that. Little pine cone, and you know, inside the pine cone is seeds. So you would want to soften up, you know, if you find pine cones in nature, soften them up, you know, either boil them or kind of bake them, heat them up, and you will be able to find the pine nuts in them. So it's another great food source, very high in protein. What else? I think vitamin B, vitamin K, so pine nuts, right? And so, you know, the thing with nuts are always a great source of protein. You want to be able to find proteins as a food source. So, you know, that would be probably my first instinct. I guess they say you can also, like, I guess make tea from pine needles and stuff. And look, it's a little daddy long legs too. I don't know if you can kind of see that. So daddy long legs are actually not actually like classified in the same group as spiders, but anyways, I think they're kind of cool. Which way? I'm gonna go this way. Let's go this way. So yeah, lots of neat things, and I do appreciate that the guys that have come in and watched the stream. It's just fun. I just enjoy kind of just coming out and walking. I'm gonna do it anyways. I might as well bring you guys with me, right? I don't know, or maybe not. I think one of my friends said, right, not sure if you're watching, but he told me I don't have to stream everything, but yeah, which is true. But yeah, here's ferns. But yeah, like if you were to find a fiddlehead, it would be more like, you know, kind of curly, trying to mimic a fiddlehead. Not really, but so anyways, don't really have them here at this time. Yes. And I'm guessing that since it's not raining and pouring and I have my portable Wi-Fi, I'm really hoping that the connection is much better today than my last time I did this. So yeah, so it's just pretty walk. Quite a change from fortnighting, but no doubt I'll be taking out my aggressions on Fortnite later this evening. So, as I do always. It's just pretty. You know, you can see, you know, like I'm right there on the highway, but you know, even though I'm in a city, you know, there's still a lot of nature. It's just really, I kind of am always desperate for nature. Living in a city, I like the best of both worlds, city and nature. So we're going to go into the Mosaic Boardwalk, Black Swamp. And to tell you, I just lizard, somebody ran away. A lot of trees. I think I'm always saying that. Magnolia. I love the magnolia. Beautiful tree, flowers. But here, native to central Magnolia grandiflora has been growing for more than 1,200 years. Magnolia serves as a state tree and is a state flower in Louisiana. Southern Magnolia has large, fragrant white flowers and evergreen leaves that make it very popular in the world. Oh, look at the lizard! So cute! This beautiful tree is valuable, extensively planted or eaten by squirrels and turtles. The leaves and wood yield a variety of accidental applications as farm. Anyway. I would tell you guys about is actually trees. So, eating trees. And I stopped at this one as an example. This is the red maple. You go north, you guys have sugar maple. The red maple is not really as flavorful as the sugar maple is. But trees, you think about trees and all plants, right? You have water moves in, it moves down. The plants sugars in photosynthesis, and then we're using stuff because that you get a lot of nutrients within the bark of the trees itself. And so it's not net bark, right? Stuff is kind of dead. That's not necessarily what's creating nutrients. But if you can kind of get in there, you know, scrape away the bark of the trees, there's lots of nutrients there, right? So thinking about having a maple tree. I was also going to see if we can find some birch trees, right? You've probably heard of birch beer, root beer, right? Trees. Like there's all kinds of edible and things, and you could probably scrape away and eat uses for it. You know, you chips. You could kind of, you know, put them on the flame. Or what most of it's used for is people pulverize bark and make a flour for a bread. And that's an idea. Have different types of. I showed you clovers. I showed you pines. I showed thistle and pine cones. Don't ever forget pine cones, and then trees. Can show you. Looking for maple is always a great one because of the maple leaf. Looking up for maple leaf, but you know, if you've ever had the Toronto maple leaf, see, probably have all forms of a maple leaf. So again, if you look for a tree, you know, looking at that maple leaf, I didn't really walk too much of this yesterday. We can see if there's birch trees. Birch is the one where the bark peels off. So if you, and they're usually very much near aquatic environments. So you probably have seen those at some point. And so this is so pretty. This is a little swamp. I always love these little boardwalks with swamps. Just awesome place to be. This is pretty. Makes me want to probably grab a net and see what else is in there. Just to see if there's any cool turtles, frogs, or insects. There's always just really neat things living in the water. And so if you didn't know I was a nature nerd before, now you know. Let's kind of see. It's really pretty. Bush is not an edible. This one is poisonous. And the mature stage, the button is not present. I did see a few things on my walk that are not edible when I came here yesterday, so we'll see if I can remember where to find those. But it's nice, you know, if you have any of these kind of parks or swamps or things in your area, you know, they're fun to explore. I think they're fun to explore for educational purposes, and a lot of times there's a lot of things that you can read. You know, take your kids, you know, teach them about nature and ecosystems, the importance of these kinds of ecosystems. They help keep our planet healthy, having them, right? Lots of wetlands help prevent erosion. They help with pollution. They're just great things to have in our environment. And sure, I study mosquitoes. They produce mosquitoes too, but overall we like them. This one is cool. I actually didn't know about this one before I came out here, and I tried to read about it a little bit yesterday. But if you can see the sign, it says Devil's Walking Stick. The Devil's Walking Stick is a small, fragrant, deciduous shrub that grows as a single unbranched stem. The stems are ringed with distinctive leaf scars and sharp tooth-like spines. It grows wild, but is sometimes actually used along property lines. Its bark serves as a protective barbed wire type barrier. Despite the threatening appearance, it produces a massive off-white flowering body at the top of each stem. It also produces deep purple berries during the fall season. Native Americans and European settlers used the bark, roots, and berries for various medicinal properties. It is also known as Angelica tree. Now, when I saw this yesterday, these are cool, these Devil's Walking Sticks, right? They're awesome. It's like this single stick that kind of just goes up. And I tried to read about it. It's something I would advise eating, but it's just kind of cool to see. Like I said, you know, it's I give a lot of presentations about toxicity. You know, Paracelsus, it's the dose that makes the poison, you know, and stuff like that. You know, when you have plants that have been used for medicinal purposes, there's usually an optimal dose, right? And with anything, if you eat too much of it, you consume too much of it, there could be adverse effects. So, well, I just wanted to show you Devil's Walking. I think it's really cool looking. I would not advise eating it. Maybe my friend, I should check my chat again. I'm just gonna periodically make sure. I don't even, just make sure if I'm still streaming too. Oh, okay. It just dropped. Okay. Am I still, can you see me? Okay, you got it back. Okay. No, not the dreaded pine cone. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm back on the trail. It looks like you guys can still see me. Cool. Okay. That was old. Okay. Sorry. All right. Hopefully you guys got to see the Devil's Walking Stick, because I just think that was really, there's just a cool, and like I've never actually seen that in nature before. Oop, I meant to time. This way. Again, look at those bees there. So the cool thing is this is just a small little area, but there's so much. We've already talked about our 5, but there's probably like way more things you can eat out here. But I wanted to show you something that you can't eat. Ooh, look, more pine cones. Yeah, so, you know, pine is great. Just keep looking for pine cones. So, and I talked about like red berries, right? So again, I would not advise eating red berries, right? And so you can see like these red berries have probably been here right for months, right? And then, you know, if you've ever planted plants in your garden, what happens when you plant something yummy? Like if you were to plant strawberries, what happens to the strawberries? They're so yummy good that all the animals, they want to eat those strawberries, right? So the fact alone that you see tons of these red berries right here, look at them all, see, tons of red berries, is a good indication that even the animals don't want to eat them, right? They're not something that is terribly nutritious, right? Most things advertise the fact that they are toxic with red coloration. Red, oranges, like these are usually like warning types of colorations. So again, while there are a lot of, you know, good red things to eat, if you're going to eat something red, remember I showed you a picture of an aggregate fruit, like a berry, like a mulberry or a blackberry or a strawberry, where you have like a lot of a composite of multiple berries. Never eat the single red berries. So I think that's really all I wanted to show you. I'll kind of walk back. It's kind of a short little walk, but this is our trail. So this is Burden Trees and Trails. So it's kind of like these nice little trails and walks. We're up here, so we're just at the Arboretum, the Mosaic Boardwalk. So really just, you know, very, very small little, less than a mile walk we did here, but you know, we could have walked all the way to where I started. So that would have been a mile up and a mile back. You know, it's a good little, you know, I'm just coming out here to talk to you guys and do educational stuff. But again, you could easily spend, you know, hours out here just exploring, just having fun, taking pictures, walking around, looking at nature. As you can see, it's very quiet. Those are the things I like when there's not a ton of people around. Just makes it kind of like this is my own private swamp, my own private area, and just get to enjoy being around. So I'm gonna go back to the car, and not sure if any of you guys have any questions. I'm probably going to end the chat soon, the stream soon. But if you have any questions, type them in the chat. And so kind of like as I'm finishing my walk here, like, you know, think about if you have any questions, or if you saw something that I forgot, or if you had something you saw that you wanted me to point out, I can do that. I do have a, I'm doing this in between Zoom calls, so I do have to get back to Zoom meeting, but in a little bit. Nice, you know, it's, I think I would encourage any of you guys, if you're watching the stream, to go explore. If you missed any part of the stream and you go back and see what was able, you know, save all my streams and stuff. So but looks like it's about yeah, so it looks like the hour is up. I'm back in my car. I'm taking this thing off my head. You can see I'm probably all like sweaty and messy and yucky right now, as usual. But I tried to look presentable and not my normal typical Einstein hair and stuff. But anyways, you can, I do appreciate that you guys came out and watched my walk. And yeah, and hopefully, like, if you like the stream, let me know. If you have any suggestions on other types of nature things you want me to do, just let me know. But it was awesome. Thanks for coming for a walk with me, and yeah, it was great seeing you guys, and I'll talk to you later.